last lecture, we discussed various atomic models, and now it is turn to discuss beyond the atomic models. That is, today we will see, we will calculate the orbital energy. So let us make a list what we are going to do today. So one is the orbital energy, orbital energy, and then hydrogen spectrum, hydrogen spectrum, and then shortcomings of Bohr atomic model, and then quantum numbers, coupling scheme, coupling scheme. So these are few topics which we will try to cover in today's lecture. So let us start with the orbital energy and put the heading orbital energy. Orbital energy. In the previous video, when we were discussing Bohr atomic model, then we found that in Bohr atomic model there is a nucleus at the center, and then electrons are revolving around the nucleus in definite orbits. So let us make few orbits. So these are few orbits in which electrons are orbiting, or electrons are revolving around the nucleus. And in atomic model of Bohr, it was said that these orbits are stationary orbits. That is, when electrons are orbiting in these stationary orbits, then they will not radiate any energy. So these orbits are the orbits of fixed energy, and we are termed these energy levels as n1, n2, and so on. So let us write it here: n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, then here n is equal to 2, and so on. Then n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, and these are the principal quantum numbers corresponding to the orbits, various orbits. So the lowest orbits are the orbit which is close to the or closest to the nucleus, that has assigned a value of principal quantum number as 1, and as we move in the upper direction or far away from the nucleus, then it will be n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, and so on. So now our objective is to calculate what will be the energy of this orbit. We said that the energy of these orbits will be constant, but what will be the energy of these orbits? So let us calculate. We have the first postulate of Bohr, in which the centripetal force mv square by r required for the revolution of the electron around the nucleus is provided by the Coulomb attraction between electron and the nucleus. So mv square by r, which is the centripetal force, that will be equal to the Coulomb attraction, and Coulomb attraction means it will be k, where k is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught k, and then electron E, and then Ze for the charge of the nucleus, and then divided by r square, where r be the radius, of the orbit. So we have this equation, and then we have another equation. So this is the first postulate. This is first postulate of Bohr. First postulate. Bohr's first postulate. And then second postulate says that the angular momentum mvr should be equal to the integer of h cut, where h cut means h upon 2 pi. H is Planck constant. So we have another condition which is termed as second postulate, Bode's second postulate, and from here we can write the value of V. So V is equal to n h upon 2 pi mr. This is the value of V, and then we will substitute this value of V into this equation, the first equation. Let us say this is the first equation and this is the second equation. So let us substitute the value of V in the first equation. Then what we will get? We will get m into V square means n square, and then h square, then divided by 4 pi square V square. So 4 pi square m square r square, and then there is also r here. So let us write one more r here, and this is equal to k z e square upon r square. So here k is constant, which is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. E is the charge of the electron and z be the atomic number of nucleus. And from here we will find the value of r. So let us write the value of r from here. From this equation we can write the value of r. So this r square and r square get cancelled, and then only this r. So r is equal to n square, then h square divided by 4 pi square, then m, and then k z e square. This is the value of r here. R is equal to this much. See, this m will get cancelled with 1 m. So we will have this value of r. Now we have to calculate the total energy. So let us write the value for the total energy. We have the term kinetic energy. So let us go for the next page. With this value of r, let us go to the next page. And first let us write the value of r. So the value of r is equal to, let me write this. This is n square h square. This is n square and then h square divided by 4 pi square m divided by 4 pi square m, and then it is kze square. It is kze square. So this is the value of r, and now we have to calculate the energy. So there will be two terms for the energy. One is the kinetic energy. So what will be the kinetic energy of the electron? So that will be half mv square, and then we had equation 1 which says that mv square by r is equal to k ze square upon r square. So what will be half mv square in terms of kze? What will be half mv square? It will be k ze square upon 2r. This is the value of kinetic energy. Then let us write the value of potential energy. So value of potential energy means it will be the Coulomb interaction between electron and nucleus. So this will be minus k ze square upon r minus k q1 q2 upon r. This is the potential energy. So the total energy will be the sum of kinetic energy plus the potential energy, and that is minus k ze square upon 2r. This is the total energy. So now we have to calculate this total energy by substituting the value of r here, and let us say this is En corresponding to the principal quantum number n. This is En. So this will be minus k ze square upon 2, and then value of r. So value of r is written here. So let us write the value of r, which is n square, then h square, and then here it will be 4 pi square m k z e square. This is the value of En, and let us simplify the factor, simplify this term. So it will be 2, 2, 2 and 4 will get cancelled. So we have 2 pi square m, 2 pi square m, then k square z square e to the power 4, and divided by n square h square. So what we see from this term, we see that En is proportional to 1 upon n square. En is proportional to 1 upon n square. So as we will go in the upper side of the energy level, then energy will decrease. So using this value, now we can write the frequency corresponding to any radiation. We can write here the frequency corresponding to any radiation. So we have various energy levels, and then let us see the picture of energy level. So this is the energy level diagram. Here you can see that here we can see that these are the different terms, are different levels. These are the different levels. So this corresponds to n is equal to 1. This corresponds to n is equal to 1. And then this is n is equal to 2, then n is equal to 3, and then n is equal to 4. So this is the values of the principal quantum number, and these are the corresponding energy levels. So in this picture, one can see that as we go in the upward direction, or as the principal quantum number increases, then the energy level, the difference between the energy level decreases. So there will be emission of any radiation when electron jumps from one state to another state. So the lowest energy level is termed as ground level. So n is equal to means it is the ground level energy, and then the n is equal to 2 means it is the first excited level, then second excited level, and the third excited level. So whenever there is transition means electron jumps from one level to another level. So let us say that electron jumps from one level to another level like this. Then the energy level, energy will decrease, and the rest amount, the difference of the two energy level will be emitted in form of the photon of h nu. In a similar way, if electron jumps from this energy level to this energy level, then again a photon will be emitted of the frequency nu dash, which will be different from this nu, and this h nu dash is the here we can write h nu is equal to E n2 minus E n1, and here h nu dash is equal to E n3 minus E n2. So in this way, one can understand the emission of any radiation or emission of any photon of the frequency nu in the atom. So the emission is only one can see emission only when electron jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, and in this way we see the emission spectral line. And in opposite way, if electron goes from ground level to the excited level, that is the reverse process. If electron if there is some energy, let us write here, if some energy is supplied, and then by absorbing this energy, electron can go from one state to another state. It means it is going from lower energy level to higher energy level by absorbing some energy. Let us say it is h nu double dash. So this is the absorption spectrum. In this way absorption occurs in the atom, and in this way when electron comes from higher energy level to lower energy level, then it emits some photon. So this is the reason for the emission. So this is the emission and this is absorption. This is absorption. So in the absorption, some photon is supplied, and in the emission, some photon is emitted. So this is about the energy level, and then we had to calculate the frequency of the emission or the frequency of the absorption. That is, when electron jumps from one energy level to another energy level, then what will happen? So let us calculate that, and let us say electron is jumping from energy level n2 to energy level n1, and that will be h nu. So what will be this value? Now we have to calculate this value, and the value of n2 is, from the previous relation, the value of n2 is here minus, it will be minus 2 pi square, minus 2 pi square m k square z square e to the power 4, and then divided by n square h square. So divided by h square, and then 1 upon n2 square, 1 upon n2 square, and then minus this whole factor 1 upon n1 square, minus this whole factor, and then 1 upon n1 square. So minus minus will become plus here. So we can write this as also 2 pi square m k square z square e to the power 4, and then divided by h square, and within bracket, because this is minus 1 upon n2 square and this is plus 1 upon n1 square, so we will write it as 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square, 1 upon n2 square. So this is the value, and this is equal to h nu. This is equal to h nu. So if electron jumps from a energy level n2 to energy level n1, then the difference between the energy is emitted in terms of the photon having frequency nu, and this relation is given by this equation. Now we can write it in this same equation in another form. So let us write as this as h nu is equal to c by lambda. C by lambda is equal to the same expression, and then 1 upon lambda is equal to the same expression divided by hc. So it will become 2 pi square m k square z square e to the power 4, and then divided by h cube c, divided by h cube c. hc is divided here, and within bracket it will be 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. Now this term 1 by lambda is known as wave number. It is wave number, nu bar. Nu is different, nu is frequency, but this nu bar is 1 upon lambda, which is wave number. So this is wave number. Wave number. And then this wave number is the same thing which is written here. Now let us manipulate this much more, and then we will write it as 2 pi square m and the value of k. So value of k I will put as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught whole square. So m, then e to the power 4, and then z square, and then in the denominator I am going to write the value of k, so which is 4 pi epsilon naught whole square. So it will be 16 pi square epsilon naught square, and then h cube c, and within bracket we have 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square, which is equal to the wave number. So again this 2 get cancelled with this 16, so 8, and this pi square is cancelled. So now we have, it is m e to the power 4 z square and then divided by 8 epsilon naught square and h cube c into, within bracket, it is n1 square minus n upon n2 square. Now this whole term this whole term excluding z square, this is a constant term. So you can see that m is the mass of electron, so this is constant. Then E is the charge of electron, constant term. Then epsilon naught is constant, h is Planck constant, this is constant. And then C is the speed of light. So all these terms are constant term, therefore collectively this can be given a new name, which is Rydberg constant, R, which is Rydberg constant. Rydberg constant, and the value of Rydberg constant is I think it is 1.096. Let me check. Yes, it is 1.096. It is 1.096 into 10 to the power 7 per meter. So the dimension is meter minus 1. So it is 1.096 into 10 to the power 7 per meter. This is the value of Rydberg constant. So now we can write it as the term as more easily, that nu bar is equal to r z square and then 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So this is the term for any spectral line. Means whenever there is transition, then what will be the wave number of the emitted photon, that is given by this expression. Now let us write one more term for the energy again. So we had the term for energy as, let us make a space here. Let me check the space. Yes, we can write here. So again let us write the term for energy. So energy is given by En. En is equal to minus 2 pi square, this whole factor which I have written here. This whole factor is for energy. This whole factor is for energy. So En is equal to minus 2 pi square, then m k square e to the power 4 z square upon h square into 1 upon n square. This was the value of energy. And then if again we put the value of k, then we will have the term like m, then z, m e to the power 4 z square, and then in denominator it will be 8 epsilon naught square and h square 1 upon n square. Now let us multiply it by hc in numerator and denominator. Then it will become minus m e to the power 4 z square hc divided by this whole term 8 epsilon naught square, then h square h cube c, it will become h cube c and then 1 upon n square. So this factor m e power 4 8 epsilon naught and h cube c, this factor is Rydberg constant. So energy will be minus r Rydberg constant into hc z square into 1 upon n square. So energy can be written in a more confined way as En is equal to minus r hc z square 1 upon n square. So again we see that energy is proportional to 1 upon n square. So this is in these two slides, or in these two pages, we have calculated the energy corresponding to any orbit in the atom when electron is revolving around the nucleus in various energy levels given by the principal quantum number n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And then we also discussed that when electron jumps from higher energy level to the lower energy level, then there will be the emission of photon, and when photon is absorbed, then electron may go from lower energy level to higher energy level by absorbing some photon. And in such case the frequency of the emitted photon is given by the expression which is written here. By this expression which is written here, that yes, this is the expression from which we can calculate the frequency, or in terms of the wave number, this is the expression, a simple expression in terms of the Rydberg constant. So now with this knowledge we can go to see the hydrogen spectrum. So let us go to another page which is hydrogen spectrum. So here I have already pasted some pictures, and let us see what is hydrogen spectrum. So in the hydrogen spectrum, again recall the picture like this, that there will be nucleus, and then around the nucleus there will be various orbits. So here various orbits are drawn. You can see here n is equal to 1. The closest orbit to the nucleus is assigned principal quantum number n is equal to 1, and that is the ground energy level. Then as we go beyond or far away from the nucleus, then the principal quantum number increases from n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, then n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, 5, 6 and so on. So electrons may jump from one energy level to another energy level, and depending on which two energy levels are selected, there are different series of the spectral lines. So in the hydrogen spectrum, the one thing is that Z is equal to 1 for hydrogen. So here heading is written hydrogen spectrum. You can write it in your notebook, hydrogen spectrum, and Z is equal to 1. Atomic number is 1. Therefore, the nu bar will be minus R, because we had term rz square. Now z is equal to 1, so it is only minus r, and then within bracket it is 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So this is our equation for the wave number. So if we choose n is equal to 1, this is the first circle or first orbit, n is equal to 1. So electron may jump from 2 to 1, then from 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 and 6 to 1. So here the first term or fixed term is 1 and the running term is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So such type of transitions are known as Lyman series. All the spectral lines which come, spectral lines means the frequency corresponding to the transition. So that frequency is termed as the spectral line. So if we see the spectrum, then we have lines. Therefore, these are termed as spectral lines. So here in this, all these spectral lines are termed as Lyman series. So Lyman series means the fixed term or the lower term is n is equal to 1, and the higher terms may be 2 to 1, then 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 and 6 to 1. So these are the Lyman's, these spectrums are termed as Lyman series. Now come to the next series, that is the Balmer series. So in Balmer series, now the fixed term is 2. Fixed term is n is equal to 2, and then there may be transition from 3 to 2, 4 to 2, 5 to 2 and 6 to 2. So these are the spectral lines which are termed as Balmer series. And in similar way, there is Paschen series, then bracket series and the Font series. And this is the equation for all these series. This is the basic equation, that the nu bar or the wave number is given by minus r 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So here n1 is the fixed term or fixed energy level, and n2 is the running term. Running term means that may be changed or it may take different value. So now in this table all these are summarized. So first come to Lyman series. This is for the hydrogen spectrum. So recall that this is for the hydrogen spectrum because here we have substituted Z is equal to 1. So in the hydrogen spectrum, the name of series is only for the hydrogen spectrum. If we choose another atom, then we cannot put the same values same name for the series, although there will be again these same orbits n is equal to 1 2 3 4 with the different z value. The value will be different, but the series name will also change. It will not be Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, bracket, Fund. There will be different name for those atoms. So for the hydrogen spectrum, the terms are Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series, bracket series, and Fund series. So let us see the same thing here written in this table. N1 is equal to, N1 means the fixed term, the lower term. It may be 1. For the Lyman series it is 1, and then running term N2 is 2, 3, 4, 5. And then region means this frequency, the corresponding frequency will be in the range of ultraviolet. It will be in the region of ultraviolet with the wavelength 930 to 1200 angstrom. So all these are clearly written in this table. And similarly for the Balmer, there will be transition from 3 to 2, then 4 to 2, then 5 to 2, and the 6 to 2, and all these emissions are in visible range within the wavelength 4000 to 6500. And similarly for the Paschen, bracket, and Fund. So all these are infrared and the corresponding wavelength is written here. Now one thing is more here, that when the transition is from let me write here. When the transition is from, let us consider the Lyman series. Let us consider Lyman series, and then this will happen with all the series. If the transition is from 2 to 1, 2 to 1 means principal quantum number 2 to principal quantum number 1, then this series, this spectral line is termed as alpha. And then if it is from 3 to 1, then it is beta, and it is 4 to 1, then it is gamma, then 5 to 1, then it is delta, and so on. So here it is also written for the Balmer series. So same thing will happen for Balmer. The first means alpha, the second means beta, and third is gamma, and then delta. If we write the same thing for Balmer series, then the first line will be from 3 to 2. So this line from 3 to 2 is alpha, then from 4 to 2 is beta, then 5 to 2 is gamma, and then the next is delta. Similarly for Paschen, the first fixed term is 3. Fixed term is 3. So 4 to 3 means alpha, then 5 to 3 means beta, and then 6 to 3 means gamma, and so on. So in this way these series are defined. Now let us see this energy level diagram. If in the question you are asked to explain hydrogen spectrum, so in that case you have to write the you have to draw the energy level diagram also. So this is the energy level diagram. In this diagram, these two diagrams are similar with each other, but here it is shown in terms of the orbits, the circular orbits, and here it is shown in terms of the energy, so in terms of the line. So this line corresponds to the first energy level. So first energy is minus RHC. Here C is not written because it is in terms of the Earth. If we write it in terms of the calorie, then there will be C, or in terms of joule, then there will be C also. So you can write here C also. So the first term will be minus RHC, then minus RHC upon 4, then minus RHC upon 9, corresponding to the principal quantum number 1, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2. This is n is equal to 2, n is equal to 2. n is equal to 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. So the same thing is given in this picture also. So there is transition from 2 to 1, then 3 to 1, then 4 to 1, 5 to 1, and 6 to 1. So all these are in the ultraviolet region, and this is Lamin series. So this first term will be alpha, this first term is alpha, then this will be beta, then gamma, then delta, and so on. In a similar way, here also Balmer series from 3 to 2, then 4 to 2, 5 to 2, and 6 to 2. So this is the alpha term, then beta term, then gamma, and delta. And in this case also the first term is alpha, then beta, then gamma, and so on. So the same picture, these two pictures are same. So this is the all about the hydrogen spectrum. Now let us go to the another page and put the heading Bohr quantum condition. Bohr quantum condition. Bohr quantum condition. So this is related with de Broglie wavelength also. De Broglie wavelength. So again draw a picture of the atom. So there is nucleus, and then around the nucleus there is orbit in which electrons are rotating, are revolving in this orbit. So according to this de Broglie wavelength or the wave nature of the electron, because this is electron is a matter wave. So please note that again, this we have already discussed, but let us recall it that electron is a matter wave. It is a matter wave. So it has dual nature, it has particle nature as well as the wave nature. So particle nature means electron is a particle and it is revolving here, but at the same time electron is a wave, therefore there will be a wavelength, de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron. So if this is the orbit, then the Bohr quantum condition says that the orbit, the wavelength here should be the integer times the this circumference of the orbit, because there should be a complete wave. It should be complete wave, and therefore we can write the Bohr quantum condition as the circumference of the orbit, which is 2 pi r, that must be equal to n into lambda, where n is integer. N is integer. This is Bohr quantum condition. And from this quantum condition we can derive the second postulate. Lambda n into lambda is equal to h by p. Using the de Broglie wavelength, lambda is equal to h by p, and then 2 pi r is equal to n h upon p. P means the m into v. P is momentum, linear momentum, which is mv. So here mvr is equal to n h upon 2 pi. So this is the Bohr's second postulate, that the electrons can revolve only in those orbits for which angular momentum is integer times the value of h upon 2 pi. So from this Bohr condition, Bohr quantum condition, we can derive the second postulate, that mvr is must be equal to n times h upon 2 pi, where n is some integer. So this is Bohr quantum condition. Now go to the next page, or we can write here also. So let us write in the same page. Shortcomings of Bohr atomic model. So let us put another heading, shortcomings of Bohr atomic model. Shortcomings of Bohr atomic model. The first point is that it is not able to explain fine structure. Not able to explain fine structure of spectral lines, of spectral lines. So till now we have discussed only the transition like n is equal to 2 to n is equal to 1. That is transition between the two principal quantum number, and corresponding to this transition we will get a single line, single spectral line. But in reality this line is composed of several lines. So you can write here fine structure means, so let us write what is fine structure. Fine structure, fine structure means a single spectral line, a single spectral line is composed of, is composed of several, several lines. So Bohr atomic model can explain the single spectral line, that is transition from one principal quantum number to another principal quantum number, but there are many lines associated with a single line, that is known as the fine structure, and this could not be explained by the Bohr atomic model. So this implies that each energy level, it implies that each energy level is associated with many other, with many other close energy levels, many other close energy levels, energy levels. So these observations are due to the experimental condition or experimental observation of fine structure, and this could not be explained by the Bohr atomic model, because in Bohr atomic model there is only principal quantum number or only certain energy levels corresponding to principal quantum number n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And then second point, the intensity of the intensity of spectral lines, the intensity of spectral lines, this could not be explained, could not be explained, could not be explained. Then third, Bohr atomic model was successful to explain, it was able to explain, it was able to explain hydrogen spectrum, hydrogen spectrum, but not the spectrum of complex atoms, spectrum of complex atoms. Then fourth point is it um, it could not explain, could not explain anomalous Zeeman effect, Zeeman effect, Stark effect and Stark effect. Then it was not able to explain the electron distribution, electron distribution in the atom, in the atom. So these were some points which could not be explained on the basis of the Bohr atomic model. Now come to the next topic and go to the new page and put the heading quantum numbers. Put the heading quantum numbers. Quantum numbers. So this quantum numbers come from vector model of atom. vector model of atom. So in vector model, the quantum numbers are represented in terms of the vector or in terms of the angular momentum. And so angular momentum is a vector, therefore all the properties are in terms of the vector, and therefore it is termed as vector model of the atom. So till now, up to Bohr atomic model, we have only principal quantum number. We know only about the principal quantum number, n, and this n can take value 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now the first question is that what is the meaning of quantum number? Why it is called quantum number? So as the name quanta means it is the packet or it is the discrete value. So because this number, principal quantum number, can take only certain values, that is 1, then 2, then 3. It cannot take any value between 1 and 2 or between 2 and 3. It cannot have value 1.01 or 1.5. It has only certain discrete values which are integer values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Therefore, these numbers are termed as quantum numbers. So, principal quantum numbers actually define the energy of the orbit. This we have already discussed, energy of orbit. It is defined by principal quantum number. Then there are set of quantum numbers, and this set of quantum numbers collectively define the state of the system. So you can say that the set of quantum numbers collectively define the complete state, of the atom, of electron, or for the atom. So now what are the different quantum numbers? So the first we have already discussed, that is the principal quantum number. Let us again list it. Principal quantum number. So principal quantum number is expressed as n, and it can take value 1, 2, 3 and so on. Then next is orbital angular quantum number. Orbital angular quantum number, which is denoted by the small letter l, and this can take value starting from 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. 1, 2, 3 means it is KLM. These are the name of the shell. K means n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. So these are the shells KLM. And then we have the orbital angular quantum number. So where L can have value 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. So if n is equal to 3, then corresponding to n is equal to 3, we have the value of L as 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2 means 1 less than the value of n, and the total number will be n. Total number will be number of n. So let us again see this. If n is equal to 3, then corresponding L value will be 0, 1, 2, and total number is 1, 2, 3. So which is equal to 3. So the total number of L is equal to n, and here the name is S subshell. These are subshells corresponding to shell. L values denote subshells S, P, D and then F for 3. Then third is the spin quantum number. And this is denoted by the letter small s, and this can have only value half. For the electron, because electron is a fermion, therefore it has the value of spin which is equal to half. This is constant. Then fourth is the total angular quantum number, which is denoted by the small letter j, and small letter j means it will be L plus minus S. It will be L plus minus L, means the value of orbital angular quantum number and then value of the spin quantum number. And then fifth is the magnetic orbital quantum number. Magnetic orbital quantum number. So magnetic orbital quantum number means ml. So ml can take value from minus L, then minus L minus 1, then with the difference of 1, then there will be 0, and then there will be plus L minus 1, and then there will be value L. And these total values are 2L plus 1. 2L plus 1. So if L is equal to 3, then ML can take value minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And total number will be 2 into 3 plus 1, means 2 3 is 6 plus 1, 7. So this is the case. And then sixth one is the magnetic spin quantum number. Spin quantum number, which is ms. So this have only two values, which is one is plus half and that is minus half. Plus half and minus half. And then seventh is the total magnetic angular quantum number. Angular quantum number, that is mj. So mj can take the similar values as ml, that is from minus j, and then with the difference of 1 it will be minus j minus 1, and then there will be 0, and then there will be j minus 1 plus, and then j. So if j value is, let us say if j value is 2, then it will be minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. And again the total numbers will be 2j plus 1. So these are the various quantum numbers. And one more thing we should note here, that whenever we denote the quantum numbers by a small letter means L, then S and J, then this is for the single electron. This is for the single electron. For a single electron, we denote the quantum numbers by small letters, and whenever we write it as capital letter means capital S, L, capital S, capital J, then this is for the atom. This is for the atom. Means now we have added the two electrons, the quantum numbers of two electrons for the atom. So the small letters denote the quantum number for a single electron, whereas the capital letter denotes the quantum number for the whole atom. Now let us go to the last topic of today's lecture, and that is the coupling scheme. That is the coupling scheme. So put the heading coupling scheme. Means if we have more than two electron, if we have more than one electron, two electron or more than two electron, then the quantum numbers of these electrons will add together to give the total quantum number for the atom. So let us write it. What is the meaning of the coupling scheme? If there are more than one electron, their quantum numbers add together to give quantum number of atom. So there may be two type of the case. Let us take one example for the magnesium. Let us say for the magnesium, the atomic number is 12. Magnesium has atomic number 12. So electronic configuration will be 282. 2, 8, 2. So this 2 and 8 will form a core. This 2 and 8 will form a core, and there will be two different electrons. There will be two different electrons, these two. So these two electrons will couple with each other, and that coupling for which that coupling for we are looking for. This type of coupling means if there are more than one electron in the outer orbit of any atom, then to decide the state of the whole atom, we will consider only the valence electron. And if there is more than one valence electron, then those electrons will couple with each other to give the total energy or the total quantum number for the atom. So such type of coupling for which we are talking about. So there are two type of the coupling. One is the LS coupling, one is the LS coupling. LS coupling. LS coupling is also known as spin orbit coupling, spin orbit coupling, spin orbit coupling, and this is also termed as Russell Saunders. Name of the scientist, Russell Saunders. Russell Saunders coupling. So this is the first type of coupling, and then the next type of coupling is JJ coupling. JJ coupling. JJ coupling. So in LS coupling, if there are more than one electron, then first we will calculate the total L, which is L1 plus L2 plus L3 plus so on. That is, it is equal to summation over I Li, summation over I Li, and then we calculate total S, which is S1 plus S2 plus so on, which is equal to summation over I Si. So first we calculate L, capital L, then capital S, and then we calculate capital J, which is equal to L plus minus S. So this is the LS coupling. And one thing you should know that in quantum numbers, when we add quantum numbers, then there is always a plus minus. Means we are adding L and S, but we will write it as L plus minus S. So it is understood that it may be plus and it will also be minus at the same time. So we will consider all the terms L, and then there will be, first we will write L plus S value, then L minus S value, and in between them all the integer values differing by 1. Or it may not be integer also, but the difference should be 1. So let us take one example. Suppose L is equal to 4 and S is equal to 2. So in a simple mathematics, it will be, if we say L is equal to 4 and S is equal to 2, then in simple mathematics J is equal to 4 plus 2 6. But it is not the case for the addition of quantum number. Here it will be 4 plus 2 6, and then write 4 minus 2 2, and then write all the values different by 1, that is 6 5 4 3 2. So all these values are for J. So this you should keep in mind, and it is not only for the integer but for a fraction also. Let us say L is equal to 5 by 2, and then S is equal to half. So in such case, if we do J is equal to L plus minus 1 S, then first we will write 5 by 2 plus half, means it is 3. And then 5 by 2 minus half, 5 by 2 minus half means 2. So here there is no other values in between, because 3 minus 1 2. So these are the using this process we can calculate the value of J. And now come to the JJ coupling. So in JJ coupling, what we will do, first we will calculate J1, which is equal to L1 plus minus S1, L1 plus minus S1. Then we will calculate J2, which is L2 plus minus S2, and in a similar way J3, which is L3 plus minus S3, and then we will calculate capital J, which is equal to J1 plus J2 plus J3 and so on, which is summation over I Ji. So now you can see the difference between the two. In LS coupling, first the total L first the total orbital angular momentum of all the electron is added, then the total spin of all the electron is calculated, then we calculate total J by L plus minus S, and here the total angular momentum for individual electron is calculated, J1, J2, J3, and then we add all this J1, J2, J3 to get J. So this LS coupling is more common. This is more common. This is more common. This is also known as a spin orbit coupling. So don't confuse if you get a question asking for spin orbit coupling or asking for Russell-Saunders coupling. So that is same as LS coupling. JJ coupling has only the name JJ coupling, and LS coupling is more common, and this JJ coupling is seen in heavy atoms. In heavy atoms, and generally the mixing of the two is also seen. Since the mixing of LS coupling and JJ coupling is also seen, but the LS coupling is more common, and this JJ coupling is seen in heavy atom. Now again go to the next page, and then I will take one example and of the coupling, then I will end today. So I will take one example of the two electron system. Two electron system. And for the two electron system, first I will calculate the terms using LS coupling for the same system, and then I will calculate the terms for the JJ coupling for the same system, and then we will see that the number of terms are same in both the case. So for the two electron system, let us take example, L1 is equal to 0 and S1 is equal to half. S will be always half, either it is S1, S2, S3, whatever it is, but it will be half because for the electron it is fermion, and then spin is half for the electron. Then L2, I am taking a simple example, you can take any complicated 2. L2 is equal to 1, and then S2 is equal to half again. So now with this example, these are two electrons, and we are interested in coupling of the electrons. We are interested in coupling of two electrons given by these states. So first let us do it for the LS coupling. First let us do it for the LS coupling, and then we will do the same thing for the JJ coupling also. For the JJ coupling also. JJ coupling also. So what we are going to do here, first let us calculate the capital L, which is L1 plus minus L2. So it is 0 plus minus 1. So this is one more thing one should keep in mind, that in quantum numbers addition, if I write 0 plus minus 1 or if I write 1 plus minus 0, that is the same thing. Means if I write 4 minus 3 or 3 minus 4, it will give the same value. It means always we will subtract the lower value from the higher, whatever it is written. So 0 plus minus means it is the same as 1 plus minus 0. So the value will be 1 plus 0 and 1 minus 0. 1 plus 0 means 1 and 1 minus 0 is again 1. So we have only a single value of capital L, which is 1. Then the value of S, which is half plus minus half. So first I will write half plus half means 1. Then I will write half minus half, that is 0. So 1 and 0. And because there is no more terms in between, 1 and there is difference of 1 between 1 0, but if it were 2 and 0, then we had to write as 2 1 0. But here it is not the case, so don't worry, it is simple example, so it is only 1 0. Then I will calculate capital J. So capital J means 1 plus 1. First I will take this 1 and this 1. So 1 plus minus 1. So 1 plus 1 means 2, and then 1 minus 1 means 0. So it will be 2 1 0. So 3 terms. And then I will take another set where L is equal to 1 and S is equal to 0. So it will be 1 plus minus 0. So 1 plus 0 means 1, 1 minus 0 means 1. So there is only 1. Means now combining or by coupling two electrons given by these two states, we have four states of the atom. Three states and then one more, four states. Then there is some notation also. So these terms are written as, I will write it as multiplicity. Multiplicity means how many terms. So in LS coupling, if it is L plus minus S, J is equal to L plus minus S. Then number of terms is decided by the smaller one. If S is smaller, then the multiplicity or number of terms will be 2S plus 1, 2S plus 1, 2S plus 1. If S is less than S, and it will be 2L plus 1 if it is L less than S. So this will give the multiplicity. Multiplicity means number of terms. Number of terms. So in this case it is 210 means 3 terms. So here we will write the multiplicity factor, which is 3, and then the value of capital L. Capital L is 1. Capital L is 1 means the P state, because this is the combined state for the atom. So I will use the capital letter, and then value of J 3p2, and then for the other state it will be 3p1, then 3p0. So what I have done here, and for this state it will be singlet state. So 1, and then here L is again 1, L is 1, so it will be P state, and then J is equal to 1, so 1p1. So here I have written the first multiplicity, and then the value of capital N, then value of capital J. So this is the notation or the mechanism to denote any term. So that is what is the name of the term. So this is the mechanism, that is the multiplicity, then the value of capital L. So if the value of capital L is 1, it means P state, and if the L is 0 means S state, 1 means L state, then 2 means SPDF. So in this way we can write here the number of, name of state SPDF, and then the value of J. So value of J, which is 210. So this is the way in which we see, or we denote the combined state of the atom. And here we get, for the given example, we have four states, four terms, three terms here and the one term here. Means if there are two electrons, given by these values, and if we couple these two electrons, then we will get four terms or four energy levels, which are closely spaced energy levels. Now go for JJ coupling using the same example. So first we will calculate J1. So let us calculate J1, which is L1 plus minus S1. L1 plus minus S1 means it is 0 plus minus half, which will be half plus 0 means half, half minus 0 means half, so only half. And then calculate J2, which is L2 plus minus S2. So L2 means it is 1, then plus minus half. So 1 plus half means 3 by 2, and then 1 minus half means half. And because there is the difference of 1, so there is no in between terms, only two terms, 3 by 2 and half. Now go for the J value. So J is equal to J1 plus minus J2. So let us take J1 half, only single value half, plus J2 as 3 by 2, plus minus. So 3 by 2 plus half means 2, and then 3 by 2 minus half means 1. So 2 and 1, and then for another value, that is J1 is equal to half, plus minus J2, which is also half. So half plus minus half plus half means 1, and then half minus half means 0. So 1 0. So what we see here, that again we have the four terms. So whatever coupling one uses, the number of terms will remain same. Here also there are four terms, and here also there are four terms. So now let us write the notation for this. So here the notation is for the 2 1, it is written as, first the value of L1. L1 means L1 is 0, means it is S state, and then the value of J1. Value of J1 means half. So S half, and then the value of L2. Value of L2. L2 is 1, means it is the P state, and then the value of J2, which is 3 by 2. 3 by 2. And out in the outer side it is the value of capital J, 2. So this 2 means this state, S half P3 by 2, 2. And for this one we will write different values. That is again L1. L1 means it is S state, and then value of J1, which is half. Then L2. L2 which is 1, means P state, and then value of J2, which is 3 by 2. And in the outer side we have the value of this capital J, which is 1. And similarly let us write for this one. So it will be L1. Again L1 means it is the S state, and then value of J1, which is half. Then value of L2, which is P state, and then value of J2. Now this J2 is half, so it is P half. And outside we have this value capital J, which is 1. And then again we have the value of this S half, and then this P half, and at the outer it is 0. So in general it is written as L1 J1, then L2 J2, and at the outer side it is capital J. So this is the general condition to write or to denote the any term in JJ coupling. So in this way we see that for many electron system, if the number of electron is more than 1, then we can couple those electrons using LS coupling or the JJ coupling, but the number of terms will remain same in both the coupling. The difference is will be in the energy levels, in between the energy levels, because we are getting 4 energy levels. 4 terms means 4 energy levels. So there may be a difference between the energy levels in LS coupling and the JJ coupling, but the number of terms will remain as such. So in this way we have covered many topics today, and let us stop here.